Yeah. Shem נעשה ונצליח. אנחנו בשער הכוונות, בדרוש הלילה, בדרוש ד', באמצע דיבורו, שורה מתחיל, והנה עניין כוונת השינה. So we explained in the previous shiur that when we go to sleep, things happen. Yeah. So first of all, we have to, when we go to sleep, it's a particular time of the day when we go to sleep, which is called nighttime. It's called Lail. And that's a time when it's like a dormita takes place, just like when Adam and Chava, when Adam went to sleep to create Chava. And when he goes to sleep, why did he go to sleep? In the hole. And then there's an Esira, and she create Chava, right? She saw her off from his body from Achol Vakedim Satani, do parts of him. They were one person, but they were two people, two bodies, like stuck together. You saw them in up because they were sharing the same back, like Kraf Vedichsustus, called Gvil. And then Chava takes the Mochin, and when Zah wakes up eventually, what's going to happen to him? He's going to get his Chadshut. He's going to get even more Mochin. He's going to get everything of his and hers and the panim and give it to her. You understand? I've got one of it. You can use it if you want. David. No. It's be on your phone otherwise. Okay. There's one here which I'm not using if necessary. Okay, Rabbi, do you hear what I just said? Yeah. This is okay. You have to concentrate. That when Zah goes to sleep at night, when he wakes up the next day, it's going to be in a higher state than he was when he went to sleep. Right? So the sleep on the one hand is mitas, 1/60th of death, the Gemara says in Brachot. And the sleep on the one hand is passive, inactive. What can you do when you're sleeping? You can't do anything, right? Yet through the sleep, to the avodah of going to sleep, a person's going to reach a much higher madriga. So to Kidduch Mata, when we go to sleep, the same, we're going to get new mochin. So we start explaining a little bit that when we go to sleep at night, the neshama is replenished, it's sort of reconstructed, and when the neshama at the time of chatzot, when there's a zivug, when Zah gives to Nuk the kli v'rucha Kriyat Shema Hamitta, and there's a zivug that takes place, so also our neshama will also receive something. But it only counts to us when we wake up in the morning. We're not actually to wake up in the morning, but actually at the time of dawn. And it begins. There's a talich. There's a talich in the brachot that we say. It explains as we wake up. I'll be already awake because we did Tikkun Chatzot. So it's why are we doing all of this? These Dushot Chatzot of Laila, because from Chatzot now is after Kriyat Shema Hamitta. So the zivug of Chatzot is Kriyat Shema Hamitta, but we do it before. So all the things that we do in Kriyat Shema Hamitta is all built around what's going to happen at Chatzot, the moment of Chatzot. Yeah, like I think Rav Kaduri said that when a person is awake, let's say at the time of Chatzot, he didn't go to sleep. So at the moment of Chatzot, you blink your eye, you go, Neshama goes up, and all this happens and it comes back down. Then you have to go to sleep on your bed for half an hour. Understand? Even if you don't go to sleep, it happens. It's going to happen anyway. The Nikudat Chatzot is what's going to happen. Sometimes the Rashash, his grandson, says sometimes the Rashash was giving a Shiur and he didn't go to sleep and he didn't do Kriyat Shema Hamitta because in the middle of the Shiur. He did it afterwards. And he explains there's different bechinot you can be mechavin to, but the highest one is Nikudat Chatzot. You can do it just 1 second before Chatzot and finish it all before Chatzot. That's the best time. It says in Torah Chacham as well. So therefore, the reka, the background, the area where we're operating, Kriyat Shema Hamitta, is in this time of the night when people are supposed to go to sleep, right? Or when they're already asleep. That's where it's all happening. According to the world things, when you go to sleep, nothing happens, right? According to this, everything's happening when you're asleep, right? But it's really going to happen at Chatzot, whether you're awake and you're already in Nodi land, or you're stuffing, or you've woken up already, you went to sleep and woke up, which is the best way to do it, and then you're doing Chatzot. But Kriyat Shema Hamitta has to be done before you go to sleep, ideally. If not, it will happen anyway. So we're going to carry on now, where it talks about the avodah of sleeping. Okay, so this is the very Avodah sleeping. If you read Ben Ish Chai, Mishra Gil Ben Ish Chai, he knows that the Ben Ish Chai talks about when you go to sleep, you have to say, I'm going to go and serve my Creator by going to sleep to have energy for tomorrow. But this is where it comes from. והנה, עניין כוונת השינה, עניינה הוא שצריך אדם לכוון, כי גם בעת השינה עובדת הבורא. בסוד, בכל דרכיך דאהו. We said it last week, we're just going to go over this part. Yeah? You got it over here, yeah? Inside page. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. בכל דרכיך דאהו. You have to know Hashem in all of your ways, even when you go to sleep. והנה, שיכוון אדם שהוא עצמו עד דחורה. That when a person, we just spent 20 minutes trying to explain, well, a bit less, maybe 5 minutes, trying to explain that when we go to sleep, it's like when Zah went to sleep, when Adam Arishon went to sleep, right? So you talk about Bechinat Zah Dechura, Asher Yipil Alav Ha'yimatzit Tzadima, Ve'ashan, and he went to sleep. V'sod Hashenai, so this Talkut HaMochin Mimenu. Now we know which Mochin are we talking about when you go to sleep that's taken out of you. Achor. Right? ונודע שהמוחין שלו מלובשים תוך נאי דאימה. So there's a levush that comes down. We talked about it, levushim, tzlamim, right? The tselem is inside the levush, which comes from ima, the netzach hod yisod. All the right sfirot of chacham is in the netzach of ima, perek rishon, sheni, shlishi. And on the left side is inside of hod, the baga inside of the hod, rishon, perek sheni, right? So in other words, what we're saying is that the chokhmah of Zah is in the levush of the perek rishon of the netzach of ima. Underneath that is chesed. The chesed on the right side is in the perek sheni of the netzach of ima. You understand? So all the 10 sfirot of Zah is inside the levush of ima, nai de ima. Right? That's why when a woman, when she gives birth, she has to lift her legs up and the baby comes out, and then the which she had, this levush goes with the baby. There's a part of the woman mother goes inside the child. So what he had before, the nai of Ima, which was also with him, it goes out from him, and it all goes into the nukba, goes into his wife, right? Now I understand, his wife wasn't created yet. His wife was part of him. She was the parts of him. She was the gav, right? So now he's going to lose this, and it's going to create her goof. She's built for the first time. What does tzela mean? So there's two pshatim in Rashi. One is a tail, and one is a side, a rib, right? But it really means the whole side. Tzela is a side. ועין בדרוש, השופר בדרוש הסירה ונעשית בעשר ימי תשובה. So all this process of the binyan of Nuk, which is called binyan Nuk, the atbach. Remember we know atbach, yeah? Aleph, tet, bet, chet, right? Gimel, zayin. The atbach, which you've got in Melech Chozer V'Shem, already from Konei HaKol, from Tovim, Chasadim Tovim, Konei HaKol, right? Melech Chozer V'Shem again. All of that, Goy Chasadim Tovim, Konei HaKol, all that. Anyway, those part. In the Parzufas Manim, it takes 10 days of us to make tshuva to build her atbach up. כי שם במיטות עניין זה וזה עניין נמשך עד חצות לילה. So now we're jumping here. We're talking about Asemei Tshuva, but that's a different parzuf, right? It's a different mochin. That's money. And we're coming back over here to the one of Kriyat Shema Hamitta. So it's also not the same as the one which you do in Shemona Esrei, which is Zunat Parti of one tefillah. You got an atbach and an isira and all of this that we're talking about here in one single tefillah. But we explained already, the Rashash says, and it comes from Olat Tamid and other places in Etz Chaim, that our world doesn't go according to Shachri Mincha Arvit of a single tefillah. It goes according to the 3-day system, where you got 12 hours day, 12 hours night for the Achor, and Zah is called the day, and Nuk is called the night. And the Zivug will be in the morning, actually, when you make the Brakat HaShachar, or if it's at night time. Right, but the point is that what we do in one shachrit is not a raya for us here anymore, and what you do in Asemei Tshuva, which takes 10 days, also not a raya for us. What we do now. Now we're interested in the Dor Mitad that takes place once every 3 days. Yeah, because the first 24 hours is all achor. We don't do any kavanot. Then we finish the 24 hours at the end of Mincha, and we go into Leil Sheni. Arvit, nothing. Then Kriyat Hamitta, that's when you do the Nesirah, and you finish with the Achor, and the Zah gives Kli V'Ruchat Tanuk, Nesirah, and then the next 24 hours will be Panim, and after that, the third day, in Neflat HaPayim, there'll be the Zivug. So that's what we're talking about. So you see how he's jumping. If a person doesn't know what's going on over here, he wants to understand from one line to the next. So in the same sentence, what he's talking about. One sentence is talking about Asimei Tshuva. That's Bechla nothing to do with Kriyat Hamitta. And then he comes back to Chatzot Laila. Now we're talking back about the Katchaot. Vaz Kvar Nivni Tanuk V'Nitkena. She's already fixed. When did she get fixed? Through the night of Kriyat Hamitta. And then they go back to where they came from Zah. She loses it. He gets everything, and then he's Merita. When is that? Achatzot Laila, when the Zivug Umizdaveg Benuk, and then he has the Zivug Benuk. It means he has to be Kayam. So he lost it and he gets it back. So when the Zivug takes place, that's the Zivug of Be'ava, if you're talking about one Tefillah of Shachar Mincha Arvit. But this process we're talking about, or Kriyat Hamitta, is in a different place. It's in a different part, it's much bigger. And it takes 3 days, right? So all of what happens in one tefillah has to take now 3 days to happen. So we're talking about in those 3 days, right? When you get to the second night, first night is when you start. Achor. Then the first day, Achor. Finish the day at Mincha, second night. Second night, Arvi, nothing to do with this. Kriyat Hamitta, this is what's going on. Tikun Chatzot, Kriyat Hamitta, I mean, it's all talking about that. And then it has to carry on another day in order for the Zivug of the Holada, which is called the Tipat HaZarit, it should be Neflat HaPayim of Shacharit, and also in Mincha. But that's another story. וזה סוד חיוב אדם לקום בחצות, להורות עניין חזרת המוחין ברישא דזא. Hashem's giving you the greatest gift in the whole world that you've had since yesterday, and you're going to sleep. Mishlufin. Le'izdaveg benuk. It took the second day to get to this. He's going to make a zil benuk. Kimosh b'ezrat Hashem. In the anav. Haven hetev inyan kimat chatzot laila b'sod chatzot laila akum leodot lach. Thanking Hashem because Baruch Hashem, I woke up. He died basically. He took everything away from him. He went into Dar Talnima and he woke up. Hashem brought him back to life. It's like Kriyat Mitim. So Akum lehodot lach. Thank you for making me alive. Modeh lefanecha. That's why we start with those words. Modeh ani. David HaMelech is describing the same thing. Veligrom zivug ha'elyon. The real job that we want to do is to be Gorem players, let's say. It won't be today at this Chatzot, it will be tomorrow, day after even, right? That's also called Zivug Elyon in another place. But the main thing is to understand, going to sleep is an avodah to achieve this. והנה כוונת השינה בעצמה עניין הוא למעלה בעניין הדורמיתה והתרדמה של זר. So this zah that we're talking about is the zah of the Katchaot. So let's just be clear now. When we're talking about the Katchaot, we're not talking about Shachar, Mincha, and Arvit, which is called Zuna Prati. Right? The Zuna Prati is fixed in each tefillah in Sim Shalom. This is talking about Zun, the Chlalut Kol HaKatchaot. If you read books, you'll get confused because it's got Katchaot, this, that, they're all different names for it. But the fact is that we want to separate between two different concepts. Zuna Prati, which is in each tefillah. Yeah, you do it in one tefillah, achor panim, but it takes 2 days because the first day we said people go up and they go back down, then they come back up again. Then they go into in Chadav Shema, right? Into the Mispar 1, we call it Tzilut Atzilut. We give all the mochin and fix them all up. Sim Shalom Zivug, right? And Be'ava, we go from achor to panim and Nesira. So all that happens in one tefillah, whether it's Shachar, Mincha, or Arvit. But this is called Zun Dechlalut Kol HaKatchaot. That's the Lashon of the Rashash, Chacham, and also in Etz Chaim. So although when it talks about it in the Arizal himself, it's more vague, and that's why the Leshem doesn't hold of this chat so much. But all the Chachmei Bet El, all the old people Chachmei Machra Rashash, this is what we follow. Okay, so now we're going to explain it further. So it says over here, וזה סוכר לעניין חזרת, right? And the דיווג עליון. והנה, כוונה שאין בעצמה העניין הוא למעלה בעניין הדומית תרדמה של זה, כי הנה נפלה עליו תרדמה וישן. He went to sleep. ואז המוחין שלו מסתלקים ממנו when he's asleep. ונודע שהמוחין שלו הם בחינת נשמתו, רוחניותו, ועולה נשמתו למעלה עד אבא ואמא. So you go to the level above, and that's Abba ve'ima. So when Zah goes to sleep, he takes his neshama and he puts it back in the rechem of Ima, or the betin of Ima. Yeah. When we go to sleep, we have mafkid our neshama in the rechem of Nuk. Understand? So every level goes to the level above it. That's how you take out everything that we have on neshama. Where did it come from? From above. So it goes back to where it came from. You understand? Shem hu ma'ale man. Now, why does Zah have to go back to his mother's, to the birthplace, right? Why does he go back to Betin? You know, there is this, because when you go back to where you came from, to the Shoresh, because we came from there, we have the koch to go back there. It's a big chidush. But that's why we can take with us the birurim. So when Zah goes up to Ima, then Abba and Ima will fix the mochin, our mochin as well, but also Zah's mochin. And then Zah will make Nuk will fix our mochin and we'll get it back when we wake up. So there's a rule in Hakavanot, the Rashash explains in depth that when you fix any mochin, any birurim to make them into mochin in the lashon that we use, yeah. Not have time. Let's concentrate because without Shem next week we'll then want to go properly into the Kavanot inside the Siddur, yeah. So whenever you fix any birurim, you need 3 generations. You need the grandparents, the parents, and the children. Right? So the children will be fixed by sending up their mochin to their parents. Right? But the parents need to be fixed. So we're sending the birurim of the parents. Right? Now the parents can't fix themselves. So we send up the birurim of Zah and Nuk, and Zah and Nuk sends it to Abba Vima and it fixes Zah and Nuk. Understand? Now, Abba Vima also need to be fixed. So Zum will send the mochin of Abba Vima to Abba Vima and they'll send it up to Arich, and Arich Benuk will fix the ones of Abba Vima. So you need 3 generations. They always get fixed. You need to fix your birurim in the generation above you. Right? But in order to get your birurim, you need something underneath to give it to you. We're the only ones that were able to send our ones up with ourselves. Because when we send ones up, we also send ones of Zun as well. Yeah. But when we do Zun, we get special koch from above. So it's saying over here, through Zah going up to Abba ve'ima, hu ma'aleman. So it's a gewaltige thing. It's amazing. They got this koch. Why you ma'aleman? Because that's where Zah came from. And if you have the koach to come from somewhere, you can go back there because you originated from there. How he gets there is another story, right? You go to Kever Tzaddik, and all these things that take you up, all this Aliyah to Kever, Orach Chaim HaKadosh a few days ago, right? He talks about the Baal Shem Tov every time would see the Orach Chaim HaKadosh coming down when he would start going up. So Zah takes the man. What's man? Man is the birurim. וגורם זיווג עליון דאבא ואמא, וידכן חוזרים להמשיך אליו מוחין חדשים. So when Abba and Ima make a zivug, they create new mochin, which is the mochin of Zun, and it comes back to Zun. כדי שיוכל להזדווג עם נוק, אחר חצות לילה. So this is basically a whole תהליך over here. Everyone's involved. We need to send it up, then to Zun, Zun is sent up to Abba ואמא, so then they'll send it back down, so Zah Nuk can make a zivug, and then Molid, then Shefa, which we get as well. ואף מכן יד שבכל הזיווגים דאבא ואמא צריך להלל את שניהם זון בסוד מן, אין זה אלא כשזיווג הוא לצורך שניהם. אבל הזיווג, don't need all of this. I'm going to jump a bit. And then it says, אלא לצורך תיקון הנקבה בסוד ויבן השם אלוקים את הצלע, ולכן מספיק שזה לבדו היה למען, לצורך נוק. והנה, that's what we're going for, הנה, כמו כן, just like זון, ממש. צריך האדם התחתון לכוון בעצמו, כי היא ברוחניותו ונשמתו מסתלקת ממנו, והוא מעלה אותם בבחינת הלילה. He sends them up when he goes to sleep at night. בסוד מן, לגבי נוק זה. לצורך שאלה, why are you sending a neshama up to נוק? Because in order to fix Zanuk, you have to send up their Burim. And in order to get the Burim, you need your Neshama to go to that place. Because it can go, it has special protection to go inside there, because it came from there. So it can take up the Burim that need to be fixed. Shchinta Guluta, Nafak Nitzotzim, whatever you want to call it, the Burim. The Nitzotzim HaKadoshis, right? כדי שתוכל אחר כך, היא באותה רגע, ממש חצות לילה, להעלות מן לגבי בעלה, because then she has to lift up the חלקים, which is called Haman, hatipa, to her husband, which is inside her rechem, and then he brings down the mud, and they figure out they make a vlad. שוזה. המתחיל להזדווג עימה בחצות לילה, ואף ביד שהזיווג הזה מתמיד, ועולה כל חצות האחרונה של לילה עד אור הבוקר. The truth is, this זיווג takes the rest of the second half of the entire night. אין בכך כלום, כיוון שכבר העלה את המן לגבי בעלה בתחילת הזיווג, ברגע חצות לילה, וזה מה שכתוב בזוהר, כי בערך חצות לילה מכריזים על למעלה שירדו נשמתות הצדיקים התחתונים במקומם בעולם הזה. We did this last week, yeah? I'm going to jump now to the next section. והנה עניין שבח העוסק בתורה אחר חצות לילה. So now we explain what happened until חצות לילה. After חצות לילה, we understand that there's a zivug that takes place. Now what happens for the rest of the night, yeah? Learn Torah. העניין הוא זה כי הנה הזיווג הנעשה בחצות לילה, הוא סוד זיווג יעקב עם לאה. It's got a new now. We talked about Zun, now there's יעקב ולאה. כמובן אצלנו פעמים הרבה, בעניין ביור קריאת שמע דשחרית בדרוש שכתבנו ליל, ואומנם רחל הנקרא עקרת הבית, נוק אמיתית, זה שכינה, right? It's called נוק דזה, אין לה זיווג אז. The זיווג that she had was at חצות לילה. After that, there's a new זיווג called יעקב ולאה. And that requires learning Torah. So in other words, it's two מכינות in play at חצות. That's all you need to know. Number one was all that we did in קריאת שמע המיטה, for the zivug of Zav and Nuk, of the Kachaot. Right? Then that's fixed. Now we're going to leave her alone till Shachrit, until Nefilat HaPayim, tomorrow. Yeah? But there's another thing that's taking place now, and that requires learning Torah, right? Huh? The paragraph before was carrying on. He did. But now he's telling you that really that's Yaakov Leah. We're going to go into the nitty-gritty now. וכמו שנבאר עניינה, we're going to explain it. ואחד מקומה עתה ולילה, כי עד אז הבריאה. What happens is, she now has to go down, Rachel, and Leah takes her place. So what we called Nuk before really now becomes Leah. And there's a process, how much it goes down. First, it starts from Tikkun Chatzot. That's why we have to go on the ground, because she was still in the ground, and that's where she is. When she goes down, why did she go down? She goes to Olam HaBriah to be Mevareh Birurim, to go and look after the children. Right? Who's going to go into such these dirty places? Only the mummy goes to go and look after the children. She can't bear it. That she screams and shouts. It says in Chatzot, Rachel screamed every night. Yeah? She roars. We talk about saying Rachel up there. So this Rachel of Zun de Kachaot is going to be the Rachel in just to let you know, in Milat Shema, that takes the Birum and brings them back up to Olam Hatzilut of the Zuna Prati. So she's got a very important job. And she goes down from Arvit, and she goes down a little bit more Chatzot, and then she starts coming back up when you get to Shachrit. When you start your prayers, when you wear your tefillin, actually. That's why it's tefillin shel Yad, it's Keneged Rachel, and then tefillin shel Rosh, Keneged Leah. The places where she's in the Kavanot, where she starts coming back up. Until eventually you get to Shema, and she's already comes back up. So that's the Rachel that we're talking about over here. And that's the Rachel that we have to cry for, right? The Shekhinah and Kilkun Chatzot. Because she's so self-sacrificing, she goes into the Bia, into Bria, she's not Atzilut, she goes into the Klipot, so to speak. And we have to cry for her because she suffers over there. She's in pain. All the suffering. So that's what we're crying for her Mesirut Nefesh. Now, no better time. We also now, not only in Chatzot Laila, but in these 3 weeks, there is in the Chatzot Yom it happens as well. She does this. That's why we have to do Tikkun Rachel Davka, not Tikkun Leah, only Tikkun Rachel during the 3 weeks. In the afternoon. Mm-hmm. This was a minhag that was done by every Jewish community, Sfaradi, Ashkenazi, and Hasidim. right? Rav Elia Lapian, who was from Gateshead, went to Eretz Israel, went to Kfar Hasidim, yeah, and the entire yeshiva used to sit down and do Tikkun Chatzot in the afternoons. Shulchan Aruch mentions it. Achas Sofer did it with all his Talmidim. It wasn't just a Sfardi Mekubal thing. Everyone did it. It only stopped in the last 50, 60 years. כמו שכתב, כפסוק, כל ברמה נשמע, רחל is crying, נהי תמרורים, רחל מבכה על בניה, she cries, וגם היא נותנת זמירות והודעות אליו כל הלילה, בסוד אלוהים על דומי לך, כנזכר בזוהר פרשת לך לך. העניין הוא, כי רחל נקרא אלוהים, ונקרא אל, ואינה שוקטת ושותקת, she can't keep quiet. בכל לילה ותמיד משבחת אליו יברך, ובביאור הדברים אלו הוא, כי הנה נודע מה שכתב בפסוקים, בפרשת ביצא, על פסוק ותגנוב רחל את הטרפים. She took the עבודה זרה from her father. וזה בעקב הענווה יראת השם. אבל שם היטב מאוד, look in שאר הפסוקים להunderstand, כי שם נדבר איך רגלי לאה והעקביים שלה הם נכנסים מתלבשים תוך קצת דרחל. In other words, Rachel and Leah, they're one above the other, and there's certain areas which are bistable. Sometimes they're Rachel and sometimes they're Leah. Her העקביים, the legs, they can go like this. The heel can go down, it can go up. So in the tiferet of Imah, over there it's all happening, right? And there's three parts of the tiferet. One is always Leah, one is always Rachel, and one in the middle can be both, right? So this is there's a lot of this comes up again and again. But the point is, it says sometimes what we call Leah really is Rachel, and Leah has taken her place. בכל מקום הזה הוא השליש האמצעי לתפארת דזס. I said the seven moment of Zah. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. ונמצא, כי שיעור קומת לאה ורחל הם זו על גבי זו, והתחלתם מן הדעת דזה עד ציוני שלו. That means Rachel together and Leah, they are the height of that. אבל הם בעצמם יותר ארוכות וגבוהות משול זה, לפי שאם הכתר, okay, we don't need all of these nitty gritty. Just wanted to explain that there's Rachel and there's Leah that's going on over here. There's one more important part that I want to hopefully do now, which is Lemaaseh. Let me bring my own copy. I'm gonna jump it up because I don't want to spend too much time. Okay, so if we go now, jump to the דיבור מתחיל ונחזור אל עניין ראשון. כי בערב חצות לילה חוזר לאה פנים בפנים מזווג עם יעקב וקומתה בכל אורך זה. Okay, you got that? It says, Ve'omnam, Rachel, now when this is taking place, when all the action moves over to Yaakov and Leah, at that time, Rachel Betahi, Nigmar inyan hitma'uta. She has now gone down to being one nekuda. Actually, nekuda achat. She becomes one tiny dot. Now that's the tiny dot. It's called the nekuda shorashit. That from that dot we take out 10 dots, and then they become the shoresh of atbach, and then you build on them 10 sfirot for her, which will be which we do in Shachrit when we talk about Adpach. So there's this process of Rachel returning to be one nekuda and then growing again. And then like every day this happens again and again. And when she's at nekuda, shorashit, it says Raglelea dachuota. It so to speak pushes her, she takes over, she hijacks the area. That's why Rachel gets pushed down into Olam Abriya. V'noda. Ki Madur Neshama, the place of the Neshamot, Hu ba'olam habriya, hanikra kiseh hakavod. Right? The nefesh is from Asiya. Ruach v'yetzirah. Neshama is from the olam habriya, which is called the kiseh hakavod. Who said Gan Eden ha'elyon? There's Gan Eden ha'aretz, which is below that, is Yetzirah. And then Asiya, it connects to that as well. And we got a Naran, a nefesh that comes from Bia. You've got another Naran which comes from Atzilut, which is another story. So here's talking about Gan Eden Elyon, which is where the Neshama of Bria comes from. כמובן אצלנו בדרוש חטא אדם הראשון. כי גן עדן עליון הוא כנגד עולם הבריאה, שהיא בינה גן עדן בסוד נקודה יסוד שבה. וגן עדן תחתון הוא בעשייה, it's called מלכות. Truth is also in יצירה, but not for now. וזה סוד מה שכתוב בזרל שבחוץ לארץ נכנס, בחצות לילה, Nichnas HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'Gan Eden. Now, which Gan Eden is he going to? He says, it doesn't say, Lishtashem and b'neshamot hatzadikim. So now you know it's Olam HaBriah. Because that's where she is. Asher en la zivug. She can't now. She's screaming because she wants to be with her husband, but she can't because, what happened? She gave the secret code to Leah. So Leah takes over. So she's underneath the bed. What does it mean she's underneath the bed? It means Olam HaBriah. Understand? All these are ramazim to what happens. אומנם ירדה אל הבריאה, ושם משתעשע בשמותיהם, so Baruch Hu comes to pacify her, so he comes to the tzaddikim of that olam, which is called the neshamot of Gan Eden Elyon, and מחדש חידושים, וזה סוד מה שבפסוק ויהי בחצות הלילה, right? That's talking about Boaz and Ruth, right? והיא לפת. והנה אישה שוכבת מרגליותיו, כי קודם חצות לילה עומד באמו, beginning, before חצות, she's above, no problem. בחצות לילה ירדה למטה. That's when Rachel goes down, מרגליותיו של זה. שהוא בעולם הבריאה. So she wants to be with her husband. It's like a magnetic pull. She's, she casts towards him, but she's in עולם הבריאה, she's stuck. כי עד סיום רגלותיו נקרא צילות, ואז ירדה ויחרד האיש שהיא לפת. He got scared because he's supposed to be he's going to die. He died after that, Boaz, right? But he needs to bring David HaMelech Meshach into the world. He needs to be with Ruth, and she's now gone to the bottom of by the feet. You can't make a zivug with your toes, right? כל זהו מחמת מתנותיהם של ישראל, שאם לאו כן היו שניהם זון פנים בפנים תמיד לעולם. Because of our anava, because of the korban, כמו שקדוש ברוך הוא יושב ושואג, קדוש ברוך הוא also screams like a lion. Why? על בת זוגו שנצמדה ממנו, כמו כן נוק בוכה, וצועקת ושואגת לבעלה. There's 70 words in למנצח יענך. And also כאייל תערוג לפי כמים. There's all רמזים of the 70 words that she screams, and he screams to her and she screams to him. Every time. Okay, so I'm going to now, all these old Ramazim, right? And it says in the last bit over there, Bekol Sa'eket lech el doda ya'ala mibor, to come up from the pit, B'sha'on el mekoma rishon. She wants to come, it won't be till Shachrit. Okay, הנה מה שבאנו, יתבהר לך כמה דרושים ומאמרי רז"ל, מזוהר שינוי כסותרים. Okay, I don't need to do stirot now. I want to just explain lemaisa what we have to do. Okay, now it says, זה עניינו, we got that, וזה עניינו. הנה, בתחילת הלילה כשיוצא לישון, ואמר, הסדר שנסדר בעזרת השם, בעניין ברכת המפיל, חבלי שינה, right? Now what you do is, be going back to what you have to do before chatzot when you're going to sleep. So you need to do the Kavanot, or Kriyat Shema Hamitta, ברוך המפיל. כוון שעניין השינה, הזו, התכליתה היא להעלות נשמתו בסוד הדור מיתה. So I have to take out my mochin and my neshama and send it up to Nuk together with the birurim. כדי שתהיה נשמתו בסוד מן. כדי לזווג לאה עם יעקב אחר חצות לילה. Right? So now we're talking about what will be the zivug of Yaakov ולאה. כי קודם חצות גם לאה בעולם הבריאה כנ"ל. ואז תעשה שני דברים. Now, but now we need to start. The shiur begins now. Okay? Until now, it was all background, which we haven't got time to go into nitty-gritty, all the details. One day, B'ezrat Hashem will come back and we'll do it properly, word for word. Yeah, you have a goal to do that, B'ezrat Hashem. Now, we're going to tell Maaseh what we need to do. Right? So you have to have 2 kavanot every time you do the chatzot, and when you go to sleep. Harishon hu inyan ha-bechiya be'et chatzot, mamash. One is to cry exactly at chatzot. Al chorban habayit, lefi she'az mamash hi et yeridat min ha'atzilut el habriya. Achman al-Islam have to be chas on the Shekhinah. Shekhinah is in galut. Rachel is going into galut. Every night at chatzot, she goes into galut. Right? Imagine a nice Jewish girl having to go into Gaza. Right? And what happens? Right? They're taking the Shekhinah into galut every night. HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba'ala za, Kudsha Brichu, it means over here. Tzo'eh ke'ari mibifnim ve'i mibachutz. How many chatans and kalas were supposed to get married? And you hear stories now, a year later, they had to marry 2 other survivors who lost their husband and a wife and things like that. וישתף עצמו בצער שכינה. We have to make what's the word? Combine ourselves together with the suffering of the Shekhinah. She's on Nikudah Shorashit. See over here, he calls it Nikudah Shorashit. This word Shorashit, Ravatia builds a whole sefer just on this word Nikudah Shorashit. Because this Nikudah Shorashit means that every time the Malchut of the Malchut has a Shorash, and that's the Inat Bach, the Nikudot Shorashit that we're talking about in the Siddur. The Rashash uses this word. This is the only place he mentions it. And the Rashash takes it from here. Shel Rachel. So this Rachel is the Malchut. Sherada lemata v'yibke kemo chatzi sha'ah. It's like you have to forget about worrying about Bittul Torah. You need to cry for half an hour. So take a few kinot from Tisha B'Av, yeah, if you have
every night.
Every night. I wish we should be able to do this. Or your turn. That's the minimum.
My wife gave up anyway. Oh, even more now.
You don't have to tell her, right? You can take a torch and put it under the blanket or something. Al tiruf Rachel. For Rachel, v'girusha v'galuta. I'll just tell you a quick master. The Ben Ish Chai, he's got a sefer called Chasidei Avot and Pirkei Avot. And he says in Baghdad, there was a big wedding. And that was a big, the Gvir, the Nasi of the Kihila, was making a big wedding for his children, his son. Everyone was invited. And there were 3 big Chachamim, and each one got an invitation. One of them said, how can I go? This wedding is going to go to Chatzot. They'll be drunk. They'll be drinking Machia and Arak and Baklawa. And I can't go. I need Chatzot. So he said, I'm sorry, I can't come. Mechila, get up nets, Rav Tovim will be upset with me if I come late. So he doesn't go. He doesn't go. Doesn't go. The other 2 went to the wedding, right? One of them, he's a big chacham, took off his shoes underneath the table, exactly at Chatzot. They know exactly how to work out. He put his hand on his mouth. And he said, right? Quietly, nobody knew. Rabbi quiet himself, nobody can hear, right? Now the 3rd guy, right, he doesn't know what to do with himself, right? So he knows now it's Chatzot. 1 minute passed, 2 minutes passed, he starts walking up and down, doesn't know what to do with himself. Eventually he went behind Mechitza, sat on the floor, hello, in the middle of the wedding, right? The Baal Simcha comes and moves the Mechitza. And everyone comes around, what's this Majnun? What happened over here? He says, Abel Alek, you bringing Abilut into my Simcha? What kind of Chacham are you? Get out from here. Took him out. Made the Chilul Hashem. So Chacham Yosef Chaim says, there's always a way, if you have a Chumrah, to do it. If you do it the right way, it's always possible to find the right balance. You never have to give up your Chumrah, and there's always a way to apply it, but you have to find it. There's no such thing as give it up, and also no such thing as do it on the cheshbon of other people. You have to find that balance, not to lose it, and when what's right. Yeah. It's amazing. It's Mamash Musa Askel. He says not to give up. He brings this maaseh to show how the man found a way to do it. Still, he did avilut. I'm sure he didn't do half an hour. If he did, he must pretend that he's asleep. Who knows what? Today you can just pretend you're on the phone. Just put one of those Bluetooth and go. Oh yeah. You should tell your husband. I know. Yeah, it's very. There's Shalom Bay. Let me leave you alone. Yeah, it's confidential. Also, it's private. אבל חורבן בית המקדש, you have to cry for all of this, גירושה וגלותה, כי כל זה נעשה על ידי עוונותינו, we caused it, so how can we not cry when we're the cause of it? ולכן צריך שיכוון באופן זה, שהנה על ידי עוונותינו גרמנו שיפלו הנשמות למטה בקליפות, והתערבו טוב ברע כנודע. ולסיבה זו, you know what, because I caused the Kedusha to go back into the Ra and get mixed together, now הוכרח רחל הנזכר לרדת למטה וגלוי להיכנס בו בקליפות כדי ללקט ולהוציא משם אותם הנשמות. וזה סוד על גינת אגוז ירדתי והבנת זה מאוד. So in other words, I have to take responsibility for what I caused. And I'm connected to all of Klal Yisrael. ונמצא כי ירידת רחל בחצות לילה הייתה לסיבה נזכר, ואנו גרמנו כל זה, בעוונותינו, ולכן צריך האדם לבכות ולהשתתף בצרה של זה, ובפרט מי שיודע שהוא נמשך בשורש נשמת קין, בן אדם הראשון, אשר זוהמת הנחש בדרבה בו, והנה בזוהמה, עדיין כלוז מלכות, בזוהמה ההיא נטבעים ניצוצות הנשמות, ואדם זה ידו במעל, יותר משאר בני אדם. ומוני ז"ל מאוד הזהירני בזה, he told me to be careful. זה חיים ויטל. He's talking about himself, not some Rashash. Okay, so that's the first thing. Then it says, ואחר שעשה בחייה זה מיד יקום ויעסוק בתורה. עד אור הבוקר, וגם בזה יכוון, וגם זה יכוון שהוא לצורך רחל, כנזכר. Meaning, even though it's for יעקב ולאה, but Rachel is in the background, she's all by herself. כמו שנבהר, וזה סוד, right? דוד המלך עליו השלום, שהיה עוסק בתורה בשירות ותשבחות כל חצות לילה לתת עזר וסיוע לשכינה, שהיא רחל. When you're singing for Rachel, see the songs which they made, you know, even Israel and Jara, there's all the different songs that were written for the Shekhinah, right? They would sing it. Yari Bon Elam is one of them. But Yarot Devash, if you know Yarot Devash, Racham Suman Safi, every morning we go to the Hechal and sing Yarot Devash for the Shekhinah. Kol Bama Nishman, cry, Yechid Amurim. ועל ארץ סוד זה רמזו בזוהר הפסוק ולא אמר איה לא העושה נותן זמרות בלילה. All these פסוקים are talking about the עבודה of the night time. והכוונה היא שתכוון לתת נחת רוח את רחל העומדת בבריאה, כי כמו שבחצות לילה הראשונה הייתה הולכת אחד נקודת חצות לילה ואז נדבק עם בעלה, כן בחצות האחרונה של הלילה רחל הולכת ונתקנת בכל עסק התורה. Meaning when we're learning Torah, we're like shushbinim that looking after us, that in the morning she'll have her turn, שבני אדם התחתונים. ובעת עלות השחר, right, says בבוקר, נמצא רחל מתוקנת כדי שתוכל לעלות בתפילת השחרית בעולם האצילות, וסדבק עם בעלה, ובלי ספק שהמכוון לכל זה, שנתברר, הנה הוא נקרא באמת שושבינה דמטרוניתא. ובזה תבין שבח העצום שהפליגו לספר בזוהר, ספר בזוהר, בשבח מי שעוסק בתורה אחר חצות לילה. בפלגות לילה, it says again and again in the Zohar, nothing more mentioned. ודע, כי העיקר הוא שצריך להשתדל בכל כוחו לעסוק בתורה כל חצות לילה עד שיעלה עמוד השחר וילך להתפלל ולא יפסיק בשינה כלל. דבר הזה אין למעלה ממנו, there's nothing greater than it. He's not telling you that if you don't do it you're a Rashash. He's telling you if you did it אין דבר למעלה ממנו. אבל אם אין באדם יכולת להיות נאור כל חצות האחרונה של הלילה, אז יקום ממש בחצות ויבכה על החורבן כמו חצי שעה, ואחר כך תעסוק בתורה שעה אחרונה אחרת, תכוון לשני הכוונות הנזכרים. Of the two covenant, one to cry for Rachel, we have to go into the dirt to take bring out all the burden that we caused to go down there, and number two, for the learning of Torah to be a shushbin for the zivug of Yaakov and is taking place, that in the future in the morning it's going to be Rachel who's going to go up and she'll benefit from it. Baruch Hu zo shemistashem atzadikim. ואחר כך תחזור לישון, ולבד שתחזור ותקום כמו חצי שעה קודם עלות השחר.
צוחקים עלינו פה.
כי כתוב, הגיד בו יום ולילה, you have to have יום ולילה, ותחזור לעסוק בתורה באופן שקודם שעלה עמוד השחר, תהיה מתקשר עם השכינה, the key, look, everyone will do what they can, but the key is to understand what is the point here. The point he's telling you now, he says, he says that באופן שקודם, ותחזור לעסוק בתורה, באופן שקודם שעלה עמוד השחר, מתקשר עם השכינה, רחל, הנזכר, כאשר הגיע עלות השחר, אשר אז עולה השכינה עם הדודה באצילות. To be with Rachel when she goes up. Because then we're going to get an aliyah as well. Right? The bit in the middle is also good. But this is the best bit. כנודע. הנה, ימצאוהו נאור במקשר עמה בסוד בני היכלים למתניתה. לבני היכלים. ותעלה אותך, Iman should take you up with her. So you can also not be, gain benefit. בעת עלותה בתפילת השחר. So in other words, when we're going to do the Kavanot, and we want to take our neshamot up, as we know, we've learned it from Ketoret, and then Izome command. This gives the koch to do it. וזה סוד העיר השחר. אני מעורר השחר, כי העיקר הוא שיהיה נאור בעת עמוד השחר. כבר נדבר אצלנו עניין זיווג אחר שנעשה בעת עלות השחר. So, there's an inyan of how many times you have to wash your hands at night. But there's another zivug that takes place in the morning. Even if you're awake, when you get to the Kudat of the Shachar, you should wash your hands again. Because there's another zivug that's being mentioned over here. בסוד המנצח על הילד השחר. בזוהר. כמה פעמים, באין שער אבן זה, היטב צריך להזדרז בכל יכולתו לקום בחצות לילה ממש, והנה אם הוא בלילי הקיץ, אם זה בסמה, הקצרים, רק כשיקום משתתו יהיה קרוב לעמוד השחר, so you wake up בצומד עמוד השחר, אל תחוש לעסוק בתורה באותו שעה, רק שתעשה סדר בחייה. So if you have to choose, the בחייה is more important. ואחר כך אם יישאר זמן, if you've got time left, תעסוק בתורה. תיזהר מאוד שלא תתבטל מזה אפילו לילה אחד, כי הוא עניין רב התועלת. אוקיי, רבותיי, the כלל. Question? No, he's saying to do it before, but if you had to choose, huh? Meaning afterwards. Yeah, but the crying that you do at Chatzot is super, it's a bigger priority. הכלל העולה מכל זה הוא, כי נתברר לך איך כמה גדולה ונפלאה מעלת אדם העושה כסדר שאמרנו, שיכוון אל הזיווגים הנעשים בכל יום. Now he's going to say a statement here which is a blow-away statement. You want to underline this and remember this, right? He's telling you that through the day there's different zivugim taking place. Also in Mincha, also in the beginning of the day, middle of the day, right? He says, so this is just to synchronize with the Shekhinah, what's going on. מתחילת תפילת ערבית, so already talking about before ערבית began, עד סוף תפילת מנחה, ואין ספק שיודע לכוון כל זה על אמיתותו, גורם שהזיווג נעשית על ידו ממש. It's as if you did it. The whole sefer of הקדמת ושיעורים of the Shem is devoted just to these zivugim that take place every day at different times. And what's on Friday night before Chatzor, Friday night after Chatzor, Rosh Chodesh before Chatzor, Shaar after Chatzor. They're all different bechinot. To understand them fully is years of learning. The Leshem, whole sefer Hakdamot B'Shurim, most of it is just to do with this. The second half is just to do with this. So he says, if you can synchronize your life to be just aware of what's going on in the Olamot and which zivug is taking place at which time, ve'en ketz v'tachlit l'scharo. He didn't say to learn through Shas, he didn't say learn Mishnah, he didn't say learn the whole of Zohar. There's nothing, just know this, and you're on a different planet, different level, a different erech. ואין למעלה ממנו, ויהיה בכלל אותם הצדיקים הגוזרים למטה, ודבריהם מתקיימים למעלה. התפילה accepted. ומכאן ואילך נעבר כל הכוונות דרך פרט. Okay, then we'll go now into more details. So Rabotai, when we learned right in the beginning, I think the first year we had, we learned through the words of the Leshem. And he said, if you know the Kavanot, there's a difference. What's the Kavanot for, right? What's the Kavanot for, right? So if you learn the Kavanot and you know them, then when you pray, you actually gorem the open the petach of the Shaarim. And the Tfilah Adan, not b'derech zchut, but derech basically the Ratzon. You goes there because you're opening the door so that he put a system that cause and effect and it works. The person obviously doesn't have avirot and things like that. He says, but if a person doesn't know the kavanot and he's only relying on his chut, so then it's very hard because the shari tefillah in alu, right? So you only shari b'chiyah. It's very hard to get the tefillot through. But these tefillot of kavanot, you can still open them. אמר כותב, הנה עד עתה נדבר דרוש כולל בכל סדר הלילה, ועתה נדבר פרטים על ספר הנחקים לבי חלקים, החלק ראשון במה שקום שינה, קודם שינה, אחרי שני, מה שאחר חצות לילה, במקומו מן השינה. בחלק הראשון במה שקודם השינה, דעת דרושים רבים נאמרו לי בעניין זה, והכתבם כל אחד בפני עצמו בלתי עירוב. In other words, You have to go through all the things as they were said to me and pick up bits from there, that from there, that from there, until you get the whole story. So you see how much there is to do. Halvai that we would have time to go through all Shaar, Kavanot, all the other svarim. So now, Bezrat Hashem, what we want to do is to take this yediyah klali that we understand what's going on before Chatzot, Nesakem and Omar, that before Chatzot Laila, when we go to sleep, we are preparing ourselves what's going to happen at Nekudat Chatzot. And what's going to happen at Nekudat Chatzot is Zivug of Yaakov Elea. But before that, there's the Dormita, where all the mochin are taken out from us and given to Nook. And that Nook is the Nook, which is Rachel. That's the Nook where we came from and we were born. Right? And we can send our Neshama over there. The Zag, we'll see, what gives a Kliva Ruchan and Esira. And that's it. That's what we have to do Kriyat Shema. Say that's it. It's like pages of Kavanot, but that's basically what we have to do for Kriyat Shema Hamitta. Then that Zivug of Zav and Nook takes place at Chatzot. Right, and there's but really it's in the, we can't go into that, but there's a zivug, it's called Yaakov Elea in the Makom of Rachel, because that moment she goes down, and we have to cry for her when she goes down, and learn Torah to keep her company the whole night. So when she comes back to the chuppah, which is in the morning, we can be going to go out with her. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen v'amen.
Yeah. So, the picture was
it looked like it was inside. It looked like it was inside the house.
So maybe I have to take it. I don't know.
I got back.
This is